Welcome to Excel Magic Trick number 801. Hey, if you want to download this workbook, Excel Magic Trick 801, click on the link below the video. Hey, we got to go back to video 798. In this video, we did a search, so we're going to search for MANN, and we want to return all the records that have MANN. If I type MAM, so it's like a partial text lookup in this column here and returning multiple records. But in that video, we used the aggregate function, which only works in 2010. So in 801, I want to show you how to do it in 2003 or 7 or any earlier version going back. All right, we're still going to have to do an approximate lookup here. So MAN needs to be matched through this column here. So we're going to use the search function. And the search function is programmed to find some text like this. And it's really programmed to just use a single cell like that. And it returns the position. Actually, let me do this one right here. So it'll return position 1 because MAN starts in this text string at position 1. But we're going to force the issue. And that argument, we're going to give it all of these. Then it will return a bunch of errors or positions, right? So we can highlight. I keep forgetting my recorder, F9 is pause, so I have to go up here and hit. You can see we get a bunch of value errors and 111. So those 111s is a trigger we'll use for counting up here and then for extracting 3 records down here. Control Z. All right, now what do we need to do up here? We need to count, so I'm going to wrap is number around that. That'll give us a bunch of trues and falses. Can't get that out of my hand. I have to hit this up here. OK, so we see those 2 trues, Control Z. And I'm actually going to lock this with the F4 key and this also, and copy this, because I'm going to use this again down here in this bigger formula. All right, and then we can put this inside of sum product. Sum product can handle the array, because that's an array of trues and falses. We need to convert those trues and falses to 1s and 0s, so we do that with double negative. All right, and so that will count. This double negative, instead of giving us trues and falses, if I hit F9 or this right here, it gives us 1s and 0s. And the sum product then can handle that array and add those 1s. All right, now here, we're going to create a formula just like we did in 798. We're going to copy down, but we need it to turn off after the 3rd row. There's only going to be 3 records. So down here, we need blanks. So we're going to use the if equals if. And we're going to use our number incrementer inside of a formula, which is the rows function. I'm in F7, so F $7. Notice I'm locking the number, colon F7. That way, right now, 7 to 7 is 1 row. But when I copy this down, that 7 will move to 8, 9, 10. So that's our number incrementer. Is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 greater than 3? F4 to lock that. Anytime it is, that means we're past the 3rd row where we've extracted our last record. So the value of false, I type comma, is going to be double quote. That's blank, empty text string, comma. And now the big part here is the value of false. And this is our lookup. So I'm going to do index. Now we're going to use 2 arguments in index. Array, that's the range of values to look up. And row number. Row number is going to be the hard part. The array, it's this column. Now, this is the first of 1, 2, 3, 4 columns. And I'm in the first column here, so I need to lock it F4, F4 rows. So when it's copied down, it's locked on this. But when I move to the side, the dancing ants will move over to the next column. That was the easy part. Comma, now row number. We're going to have to not use aggregate like we did in 798. Aggregate just allowed us to use the small function, and we didn't have to use Control-Shift-Enter. Here, we're going to have to explicitly use the small function. Now, the array, what do we want in this argument right here? A row number. Well, we need to get a bunch of row numbers from whatever trues we get in this column here. So the row number is going to be inside the small, and we're going to say if, because we don't want all the row numbers. We just want the ones that match MAN. And the logical test is going to be what? We already saw it, Control V from up there. And if you highlight this and hit the F9 key, which I can't do because that's my pause, you can see it's a bunch of trues and falses. So now, this is inside of the if logical test. So for value if true, we're going to have to give it all the row numbers. And then wherever it sees a true here, 1, 2, 3, it'll look through the value of if trues and retrieve those row numbers. Control Z. Now I'm going to comma. And now I need value if true. So row And you can pick whichever one you want. It doesn't matter, F4. Now this will give me 4, 5, 6, and I don't want that, so I subtract row of this, and then F4. Now this will give me row 4 minus 4, which is 0, so we always add 1 back in. This is robust right here, because no matter how many rows you insert up here or where you move this table, this will always give me 1, 2, 3, 4, which is exactly what the lookup needs. All right. Value if true, we don't need the value of false, so we simply close it off. And then finally, this whole little bit right here, inside, this is the array. So if I hit F9 or this button right here, it gives me, oh, there's 15, 16, 17. So I have an array inside of the small, which is what I need. And in the K, I just need to put a number incrementer, 1, 2, 3, 4, as I copy down. So Control Z, and then comma, and I'm going to copy this little piece here. We already got our number incrementer. Control C, Control V. There's our K. Whoops, no. Click OK. I was trying to get that. That's our K right there, so we close that off. Our row number, we just got that. This whole small, if I were to hit F9 right here, is simply going to deliver the first row number, right? 15. What a bunch of work just for the number 15. Control Z. All right, so we have that. We close off that. We already have both our true value of true and value of false, so we close that off. And this requires the keystroke Control Shift and Enter. Control Shift and Enter. Immediately you can look up in here and see the curly brackets. That means we entered it as an array formula. Earlier video we used aggregate. We didn't have to do that. Copy it down, and so it works. We can test it now. MAN. We could type JO, and we get all the names with JO. JOH. So we get just the records with JOH. Now this earlier video I named it retrieving email records. I meant to call it phone numbers. All right. So it's how you retrieve records based on a partial search criteria in 2007 or earlier, using not aggregate but the actual small, and then using Control Shift Enter. All right. See you next video.